This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 with the mod General's Evolution on the map Naval Yard for a 3-player FFA featuring, as the Pink China in the northern position, Q. It was a player that I've seen before, but I can't remember where. I assume it was in a random team game in Red Alert 3. Might have been in Generals, but I think they're a Red Alert 3 player. Anyways, as the purple GLA, this is DarkoV. And rounding out as the blue China over here in the left, this is Cloud. So Q with a little underscore, DarkoV, and Cloud going to be facing off in a China-China GLA kind of match. So no USA representation in this particular case. Looks like we've got a couple of oil derricks down here in the south, as well as 2 expansion points. So some of these little areas could be fought over quite hotly, or it could be that one player manages to sneak over there and get themselves a little economic boom without anyone really noticing. I guess those are the only neutral structures to be captured. Just those 6 oil derricks that are quite far away. A couple of technicals going to be coming out, a couple of tunnel defenders as well, so the RPG troopers for DarkoV. We'll see how he decides to play this. Do the 2 Chinese players kind of group together, or do they all fight each other equally? So much in FFAs is about 2 players, fighting against each other, and then a 3rd player just swings in and takes a chunk out of one of them, and then that guy is basically dead. Or it's like one guy is almost dead, and then the other guy doesn't quite finish him off, so then the 2 guys who are much stronger fight each other, and the 3rd guy quietly rebuilds everything and then stomps. Dragon Tank gets one of the technicals. The other 4 or 5 technicals that are now here managed to get the kill on the Dragon Tank, though. Listening Outpost is now set up, and the technicals go completely by it. Gatling Tank is out. It looks like a Gatling Cannon is going to be added on to defend this little refinery location, but it won't be taken out very quickly by these technicals. Not sure which one actually has the RPG troopers inside of it, but for right now, the Gatlings are going to trade pretty well against the technicals. The technicals might as well just hunt down those supply trucks, try and get as much value as they possibly can, as rocket troopers and an APC going to be targeting down this garrisonable structure on the low ground. So Cloud is going to be facing attacks from 2 opponents at once. Q and DarkoV unintentionally joining forces, as it looks like Cloud is going to be losing this expansion point down here if he was hoping to secure these oil derricks and keep this expansion. Q is going to go ahead and try and set up there. Whatever that was, it gets canceled. 1 barracks, 1 war factory right now for Cloud. A lot of players seem to be going for the 2 war factory kind of play, and no expansion just yet from DarkoV. He's got the 2 oil derricks, which is nice. He wants to go ahead and take an expansion at some point, although, no, this is just a technical way out here. Oh, it's actually going to drop off 2 workers. I didn't even think about that, but I guess you can drop off workers using the technical to expand. So the command center goes down, and then I assume a supply stash will be the other thing. I'm not sure what what his plan is there, but we'll keep an eye on exactly what DarkoV is doing. Expansion coming up, 2nd supply center being added on. Already got a propaganda tower up and running. Where's this worker going? I'm not actually sure what the plan is. He going to try and expand to the high ground as well? A little sneaky expansion over here, maybe. He's going. He is just going. Cloud coming down to the south. No expansion point for Cloud just yet. Going to drop his propaganda center. He's going to trade off against this Civ structure, but it looks like it will get cleared out. The couple of RPG troopers decide to leave the building. Scorpion's going to be able to trade against these Gats okay, but the technicals may go down regardless. Looks like they may not actually be saved by their Scorpion brethren. Trying to expand to an area where someone has already expanded. A little bit unfortunate there. And Cloud is going to take what damage he can get. He's trying to get as much value for these Gats as he can. And the Dragon Tank is maybe just barely going to escape the Scorpions for now. And it'd actually be good to let the Dragon Tank get as much damage as he could, since he'll burn those buildings down faster than the Gats will. But the Gat is the thing that tries to escape. The Worker, paused momentarily, is trying to take that expansion in the north, but won't quite be able to. So right now it looks like Q is building up for a pretty big potential attack, but also he is the one that is not under the attention of either of the other players. So a nice advantage for him is that no one is paying attention. Another supply center going to be going down, or getting built up, rather, by Cloud. Worker gets sniped. Q finally realizes that there's a potential vulnerability there and snipes that. But of course, DarkoV already has 3 refineries up and running, or 3 supply stashes under his control, a 4th one nearby, and then this 5th one up here. So right now he's got 4 supply stashes and the 2 oil derricks cranking away very nicely. Cloud up to his first Emperor Overlord, which of course would be dealt with very easily by buggies. There we go. We're actually seeing some buggies. Double War Factory buggy is a pretty powerful setup, but we don't quite have that just yet from DarkoV. He chases away the supply truck, but lets it escape, just barely managing to get out of there. All 3 players at a momentary lull. Actually, all 3 players relatively low on production facilities. Kind of surprising no one's got a double War Factory setup going on, with as much income as these guys should have between all of their expansions. Double War Factory. Okay, no, actually, the 2nd War Factory is down on the low ground, so Q pumping out Overlord tanks, 2 at a time, potentially even going to be adding on this expansion up here, which is pretty open at the current moment. We saw the nuke constructing. It is just now finished. Already got at least 1 internet center coming up, or already up. Maybe a 2nd one will be coming up soon. Oh my gosh, this Gatling sniped a worker way down in the corner. It looks like DarkoV was trying to sneak something somewhere. I don't know exactly what he was going to try and build in that corner there, but it did get shut down regardless. I do wonder why he's only taken 1 of these supply stashes and he hasn't expanded to either of the other 2 that are pretty easy for him to take. I mean, he could take this one without any contest. And instead, he goes down for this one in the south. ECM tank going to try and shut down some of these technicals, allow the Overlords to kill them that much more easily. And the Overlords will escape for now. This is so many Overlord tanks coming out for Q. Even a dozer, which I guess just expands into another command center. In this version 2.1, which version 0.3 is supposed to be coming before the end of the year. Obviously, this is just volunteer guys doing it in their own time. So whether or not it will actually come in 2021 remains to be seen. But the current plan is, I guess, 0.3, which will be quite a big update from what I hear, is coming sometime in 2021, and it'll add quite a few things, or change quite a few things, make it a little bit more like Generals, because some of this expansion stuff is definitely a little bit odd to see, and definitely not very much like Generals. But I know the team in the document, they say something like, this is not going to be a one-to-one port. This is sort of a reimagining of Generals, and certainly in some cases I think there are things that would be either extremely difficult or basically impossible to do as a mod in Red Alert 3. I don't know how much you can, like, change the underlying setup of the engine. I don't know how much stuff within Sage you can really change if it's just a mod, so there might be some things that aren't really possible to do or would take an extreme amount of development time that no one wants to spend to fix. Two more command centers apparently going to be coming up for Q, going to be adding 2 additional command centers with those dozers. We'll see if they actually get deployed. Might just be a little bit of overkill to drop 2 more command centers when you've already got 2 of them. Airfield now out for Q. A lot of build-up in this case, and because the action has stopped, no one really wants to be the person to initiate it. It probably will be Q, although these buggies might just try and hit and run. Would be a better idea than trying to engage this army directly. You want to stay out of range of those overlords. One overlord goes down. A second one is very close to death, but it has survived for now. And this is the exact sort of thing that DarkoV needs to do when you're playing that GLA buggy style. Although he's going to try and use some Scud missiles as well. When you're playing that GLA buggy style, you have to you have to hit and run. Central War Factory coming up, and Cloud is just going to go for it. I think this is a bit of a mistake. He should have scanned or sent ahead some troops to see exactly what the size of the enemy's force was. In this particular case, ECM's locking down one of his overlords, and that's a bit of a trouble because he's only really got 3 overlords. His nuke just completed building, but he may not be in the game long enough to actually utilize it. 2 minutes left on the clock for Q's nuke. And this is an opportunity. DarkoV heads out. He's going to swing by the army. He's not going to try and go for the backstab to cut off the infrastructure of Q. He's instead just going to loosely engage the actual army. And the RPG troopers will actually be able to deal with these buggies fairly easily. The vehicles, however, will not be able to deal with the buggies very easily. Scorpion's now going to be coming down. Scuds, will they actually get their mark? The answer is no. They mostly are firing at infantry, which is way overkill, it looks like. But they finally find their shots, and the Scud launcher's getting cleaned up by those Overlord tanks as Q crushes on forward. The rocket buggy's trying to stay out of range, but now the tunnel defenders are here, and they'll just get smashed by this much Chinese firepower. Absolutely overwhelming numbers coming in here for Q. The buggies are going to try and circle around the back, and they might be able to cut down some of these Overlord tanks, and maybe the reinforcements can stop all of the infantry as Q doesn't have the numbers against the smaller units that he maybe thought he did. How much infrastructure can he break down before the buggies get the best of him? For now, the buggies actually committed to the attack a little bit too far, and they got cleaned up. The buggies having to back off, but only 3 or 4 of them do remain, and Q continuing to press forward. The number of tanks that he has is greatly diminished, but the sheer number of firepower, the sheer amount of firepower he's got with all those rocket troopers still stands strong. "20 seconds left on the nuke, and Q has nearly cleaned out DarkoV. DarkoV still has this expansion up in the north, and he's quickly rebuilding as much as he can. He's going to try and hang out up there, let Cloud and Q fight it out, and then see what happens after that. This nuke cannon, will it actually get a shot off? The answer is actually going to be no. The double helix are here to clean it up, and the nuke fires off. Where will it hit? That's where one nuke hit. Q cleans up a big chunk of Cloud's base. One nuke cannon goes down, one helix goes down as well. But DarkoV survives for the current moment. Those rocket buggies were never able to totally cut down those Overlord tank numbers, but they got close. They got really close to cleaning up the Overlord tanks, but of course rocket buggies can't do anything against the RPG troopers. I guess eventually they will take down the tank hunters, but it will just take so long for them to eliminate that many tank hunters. A couple of Scorpion tanks. Why even bother with the Scorpion tanks? Just save your cash to dump it all into rocket buggies. Okay, I guess you can build some other units if you want. Cloud going for the rocket infantry tactic. I mean, this is a good way to spread out the sheer numbers that you have. Helix is going down as they get targeted down by those rockets, and mine drop directly on top of some of those Overlord tanks as the reinforcements come in for both players. Gat's on the front line trying to cut down the numbers from Q, but Q just has such superior armor that he's pushing Cloud further and further back. Q may not have the infantry numbers after this engagement. Never mind, he's got plenty of infantry. The GAT tanks didn't really make a dent in the infantry of Q. ECM's shutting down one GAT, but the other GATs still remaining online, and the Overlord tanks have left their brethren to die. As Q closes in, a couple of Overlords going to get eaten up. A nuke cannon not going to be given the opportunity to fire, or will it? As just as that moment, Q backs off, and in comes Scorpion tanks and quad cannons to cut down the infrastructure of Q. The Helix falls, the quad cannons trying to deal with the other aircraft of Q, but a lot of these technicals, squads, and Scorpions not actually a part of this battle. Can Cloud push forward at the same time? It looks like he's going to try, as the two of them collapsing in on Q together might finally be enough to break him. The reinforcements are a little bit too late for DarkoV. He's going to be heading into the meat grinder. He's going to try and clean up a couple of these helixes from distance, and he will be able to clean up one helix, but Cloud is finally on the front line. Cloud is finally here to get in on the action. Nuke cannons down to a couple of shots, actually landing some of these shots, but 30 seconds left on Cloud's nuke cannon. Into the meat grinder go the GLA units, as every single one explodes in a fireball. 2 nuke cannons, 3 to 4 nuke cannons are actually here for Cloud, as this entire area becomes irradiated. Q's single helix in the sky doing so much damage and finally going down. The army eventually breaks through as GLA overwhelms Q in the north. I can't believe DarkoV actually has the numbers to pump out enough units against Q. Q has fallen in the north, but in the south he's pushing into Cloud's base directly, and now with no time left on the nuclear clock, Cloud has an opportunity to drop the nuke directly onto a base of Q. Quad cannons and Scorpions for the win in this case from DarkoV, as he clears out another helix, but there's ever one more waiting from Q. Just over a minute and a half remain on the clock for Q. Cloud has been able to expand it down to this section of the map, and that's really what I guess has been fueling him for the last minute or two. MiGs come in and they light up the entire area, as the expansion is what gets nuked off to the left side there. DarkoV is maybe barely going to be able to break Q here on the right side of this expansion, but will Cloud and DarkoV continue to join forces and press forward into Q's base, or will one of them back off and let the other one take the brunt of the work? The reinforcement's a little thin for Q, as DarkoV is now going to have to go on the offensive into Q's main base, and that might be a little bit harder for DarkoV to break. The dozer in the propaganda center, it looks like, going to be going down. The quad cannon's a good choice to help clean out the infantry numbers, as one more Overlord tank falls, and then another. Mine drop gets deployed, and just push into Q's base, at least do some critical damage to try and clean up some of this infrastructure so he can't rebuild quite as quickly. DarkoV continuing to push in. So many GLA units, but they're about to get nuked in just under 15 seconds. You can just drop the nuke on the army and hope that it doesn't move. Or you can try and hit Cloud's base, perhaps. The clock has expired. Q is ready to fire again. The entire army lights up as Q cleans house but it's not enough to stop Cloud. And at this point, it would actually be good for DarkoV to take a little bit of a break, maybe re-expand to his original main base, although not a lot of supplies left in this area. Cloud backs off. Neither one of them presses further into Q's base. So Q gets off easy in this moment. He doesn't have a lot of cash left. Looks like he's got at least 2 internet centers. And this supply up here is depleted, so not a lot of cash left around the map. But oil derricks are nice. Cloud did not clean up the oil derricks of Q, so he's still got those going for him. And of course, we don't have the replay of the in-game chat. It's possible that these folks are typing to each other, talking over alliances and who's going to do what. Although that supply still has 30,000 credits in it. So it would be worth expanding to the main base in that sense. And I guess, like Red Alert 3, there are still supplies even in depleted mines. Whoa! What is that Gatling tank firing at? I'm not sure what that guy was shooting at, but it is way up in the sky. Overlord's coming in, and the army of Gats to clean up the infantry, as there just aren't a lot of units left for Q. Even the carpet bombing and the MiGs coming down in an incredible lane of waste on top of the nuke, but it wasn't enough. The MiGs couldn't finish off that nuclear silo. 1 minute, 55 seconds left for Cloud. He may actually have to use it against DarkoV, and DarkoV trying to jump on the nuke cannons of Cloud. Maybe a bit of a mistake. Let Cloud kill off Q first. Don't stop him from killing Q. Another war factory going down. That is a lot of destruction as, what is this, 4 or 5 rocket troopers steadily making their way forward, trying to take down the command center of Q, trying to take down the nuclear silo as well. But the Overlord tanks have turned around, and the GLA forces have been ground into dust. The command center goes down. The nuclear silo will evaporate as well as it falls to pieces. And Q still has a dozer. He can get himself another command center, but it looks like Cloud is coming to finish the job. I guess he has to also kill these structures down here if he wants to really clean Q out of the map. The supply dock up here as well. Command center goes down. Cloud continuing to press on forward. Cloud, who took some pretty hefty damage early on, but was able to recover from it nicely, expanded later than the other players, but was able to do the most with that cash. And in the end, the joint forces of DarkoV and Cloud have defeated Q. But maybe not yet. He can come back with the supply centers in the corner somehow, some way. Cloud actually going to just expand to the bottom center of the, or to the left side of the map, and just take over those oil derricks. So good on Cloud, finally taking back those oil derricks after however long this has been. Baby Burt making a brief appearance as well, getting in on the FFA action. This nuclear reactor, I think that was the last thing of Cloud. So Q has been defeated. It is all up to Cloud and all up to DarkoV, but honestly, DarkoV, I guess, doesn't have a whole lot of cash left. He's got 18,000 credits, so he just gave up. So, all right. Cloud has $6 grand remaining in the bank, and I guess at this point, since DarkoV has given up and we've seen our last big, flashy battle of the match, we can go ahead and just fast forward a little bit. Wow, it takes Gats so long to burn through a building. Also, Gatling tanks, they don't spin up, do they, in this version? I think I just realized that yeah, Gatling tanks, I think, fire at a constant rate. That might be one of those things that's like, very difficult to do, or would have to involve, like, entirely recoding the unit. Oh, wow, that plane just fell apart. Another Scud launcher going down. We never did get to see that Scud storm fire off from DarkoV. And the nuke for good measure. Nukes his own army. These guys must be pretty good friends for him to be willing to do something like that. The Scud Storm gets eliminated once again, and DarkoV has been defeated. Not a particularly strategic FFA, but a fun, explosive one for sure. Lots of action over the course of these 3 players playing this match. And that will do it for this game, for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. And this is Sybert, signing out.